Welcome to the Billy Schultz Music Podcast.
I'll go back later and do the thing to it. Like I said, I just started doing all this, so I'm like kind of feeling it out. But yeah, dude, like I was, yeah, it's
Congrats on your subscribers and shit, dude, bro. That's so sweet.
I appreciate that, man. That's all I've been doing. I mean, I've been putting in as much time as possible, trying to upload a video every single day. And, it's once it started working, I was like, I can't stop, I gotta keep up with it. So it's been fun. And like, I just got the setup to be able to do these podcasts. And I've been wanting to do this for the longest time, but it's just, I didn't have the money to drop on the equipment to make it look and sound, like decently professional. But here we are, my dude.
Oh, do you have me good enough? Do I sound all right?
Yeah, no, it sounds good. Are you using just like a laptop or something?
I'm on Mac, so.
Okay. Yeah, no, it sounds fine. And I think that's another thing I'm like playing around with is like, I know my setup's fine and I'm starting to learn like what everybody else's, if like a Mac will sound fine, if someone's iPhone will sound fine, like shit like that. So it's all a learning experience. But as soon as I started, I was like, I got to talk to Benny and get him on, especially when I saw the thing about NASCAR the other day, dude, that's sick.
Bro, man, I appreciate you having me on and I'm excited it's good to catch up, man. We haven't like really had we haven't caught up in a minute. So it's going to be very genuine, I feel like.
Absolutely. Well, and that's another thing too, is as much as I want to talk to, musicians and shit like that for the channel, like it's also like, I want to hang out with the homies, and luckily most of my friends are musicians, so it kind of works, but, it's an easy way now when everyone's quarantined to be able to also just like hang out with your friends.
Yeah, no, I've been doing this with like a handful of just, the buddies that we're usually on tour with, or like the groups of everyone's friends that we're all friendly with on Twitter and all that bullshit. Like, we've been having like these group Zoom calls with like 8 bands in them, and it's just a fucking mess, and it's so fun though.
Oh, dude, it's one of the most fun things. We just did one of my buddies who lives like right down the street. He's been helping me with the videos and stuff because he was a film major and a theater major and stuff. And so he's right down the street. So we've been hanging out a bunch, and he like writes scripts and stuff. And the other day I went over to his place because they were doing this script reading for one of his things. And like, I just read this character for one of his guys in a script. It was hilarious. And I was like, yo, this is crazy. Like how everyone just like comes together at once via the internet now, dude. It's so wild.
It's fucking crazy, man. I love it mostly. Like, I hate quarantine, but I feel like I'm connecting with almost more people right now than I was beforehand,
Yep. Yeah. Well, and it was just funny when people were complaining and still are complaining about quarantine. I'm like, dude, if this shit happened 25 years ago, you would not serve, like, you would not last. Like, you have Netflix, you have the internet, and you're still complaining about staying at home. Like, it's ridiculous.
Oh no, man. At least it's such a crazy fucking time to be in, bro. Like,
dude, it's wild, man. And apparently they're starting to reopen, like all the states are starting to reopen shit now too. And it's like, what's going to happen?
I'm pretty knowledgeable about what's going on in Washington and Oregon. I don't know as much about California. I know all us 3 are kind of on like the same somewhat trajectory.
Yeah. It seemed like we did pretty well at first, at least, of like keeping the hospitals from getting overwhelmed and shit like that. But I don't know, man. I don't know enough about it. I just see so many people arguing about, everyone sees people arguing about whether you should or shouldn't do this or that. And I'm like, you guys don't know anything either. Like, everybody just shut the hell up. It's ridiculous, dude. It's like everyone's got an opinion, and I'm like, I'm like, you're not an expert. Like, no matter how much YouTube videos, how many YouTube videos you watch, like, you don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, the fucking pandemic, dude.
Oh my God. I've seen so many people put on the tinfoil hat in the last like 2 or 3 weeks, especially thanks to that video. And it's so upsetting, dude. It's like, I don't know. Maybe upsetting is not the right word.
We've talked about this before. Like, I love I don't even like to call it a conspiracy theory. I just like looking into shit because there's a lot of weird shit that happens in the world. And it's like, that's not a conspiracy. Like, people are just fucking weird. And especially if you have a lot of money and the ability to hide shit, like, shit's going on. And it's like, I love looking into stuff, but it's like when shit like that's going on and you can't back anything up and you can't like, it's just like, come on.
When it's like you got a couple sources that you're getting shit from, and like half of them are, just not credible, or they end up, it's one of those things where it's just funny to me, because I was talking to somebody the other day about it, and I was like, it's funny that so many people think that they're on to like what the elite are doing, and I'm like, if they're doing something behind closed doors, you're not going to know about it. Like, they're laughing at you right now because if this is something, it's to keep you distracted from what's really going on.
Exactly.
Like, if this isn't just an actual pandemic that did just actually happen, the way that we think it did, then it's a distraction for you, and they're going to throw a bunch of shit at you to keep you caught up in the conspiracy, and they're doing other shit behind your back anyway. Like, you're never going to know. So like, why waste your time and argue with your family?
No, it's like you fucking sit around and just fucking pull hairs about fucking where it came from and who did what. It's just like, at the end of the day, we're all fucked. And I don't know, I feel like most people, unless you're in politics or high medicine, you're not going to be able to really even understand what's going on. So you got to listen and look out for each other. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I think that's kind of what I feel like at the end of the day. If you're a fucking asshole that's like going and fucking coughing on people and yelling about how your business shouldn't have, no, you can come in here without a mask and all that. It's just like, just follow the fucking guidelines. Like if everyone just does it, like, we'll get out of this so much quicker.
Right. They're there for a reason, know?
Like like maybe it is too extreme or whatever your fucking defense is, but we don't know. So it's like, wouldn't it be better to just like err on the side of caution rather than like kill everyone?
Well, and I think that's what they're realizing now, is that it isn't like, it's deadly and a lot of people are dying from it, but it's not as bad as they were projecting. And a lot of people I see people saying, yeah, like shit was too extreme and it's ruining the economy. And I'm like, I would rather have gone under an extreme lockdown and slowed it down because we think it's going to be much worse, and then it not be that bad or as bad as we thought. And then we just start to reopen shit. Like, I'd much rather it be that way. You know?
Well, then a lot of these states, with like Georgia fully reopening, and like I think I saw Missouri was like open and they're doing concerts and stuff again.
Yeah, I think Florida and like Texas doesn't give a fuck.
I think it'll be interesting to see the data over the next month or so with them. Oh, there's my cat.
What's up, kitty?
That's Chico. She's the best cat in the world.
What's up, Chico?
Cat that I named Chico.
Classic. Are you well, where are you? Are you in an apartment, or like what do you got going on?
Parents' house.
Oh yeah, chilling.
Yeah, I'm just chilling, baby.
Straight chilling, sipping on Squirt and White Claw.
We were supposed to be on tour for fucking most of the year.
That's right. Who was that with again? I saw the flyers.
Yeah, so we were out with a band called Motives when everything hit, and we were in Cleveland. So basically, like the week of like that second week of March when everything got fucking crazy. How that was for us is we played like 5 shows in Texas. Everything was fine. No one was even fucking. Everyone was making jokes. Like we went to a local dirt race, and the speaker, like the MC of the night, was just making jokes about coronavirus. It was just Jeez. It was still a joke. You know what I mean? It wasn't serious. And then so we played a show in Dallas. It was still fine. We had 1 day off, and then we played a show in Rock Island, Illinois. So we had to go from Dallas to Rock Island, Illinois.
Damn.
You know anything about geography? That's like Davenport, Iowa. It's like a 12-hour drive. Thanks, agent.
Thanks for setting that one up for us.
So we did that, and then we had 2 days off after that. And the Motives, the band we were with, they're from Cleveland, and that was where the next show was for their CD release. And so we went to Cleveland for 2 days, hung out with them, and then it was like, oh, wait, hold up. This coronavirus thing's getting kind of bad. Like, do we need to cancel the tour? So we were 2 weeks into 7 weeks at that time, and then we hadn't even announced all the other tours we were going to be on this year.
Damn.
And so we're like, oh, no, this is, like, getting kind of bad. Like, do we need to be cautious? Okay, well, it's whatever. It's a day off. Let's see how tomorrow goes. And the next day we wake up, and that morning I remember I called a couple buddies. I called my dad. I called just a few people to get their opinion on it. And I was like, well, you know what? Fuck it, man. Like, we're going to go home until the government's fucking sending us home, man. Like, we're going to fucking rock it. And then literally we just, like, just looked at what was going on, watched the news, read a little bit on it. And then by that night, we were buying our bass player that lives in San Diego a plane ticket home, and we were going to play one show the next day in Cleveland before Ohio completely shut down. And yeah, we canceled the rest of the dates and went home.
That's so ass, man. That sucks.
And it was within, it was like all of that went down in 2 days. We had to make that decision, like fucking 2,000 plus miles away from home. Like,
yeah, that's ass.
We have 7 weeks of merch. We totally planned our lives on being on the road for the next 7 months. And then, like I said, beyond that as well, because this fucked up so much stuff for us.
Yeah.
But it fucked up everyone's stuff. So like, I'm not really trying to complain or take it personally, because it's like, literally, like, who didn't get fucked by this?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, the rich people, I guess, like the corporations.
And not even to sympathize with them, but even they're taking a hit. You know what I mean? Like, everyone, the entire country's taking a hit.
And that's why I actually was reading like a study that came out of Italy a couple of days ago. And I think this is the big reason why they are starting to slowly open stuff back up pretty quickly. Well, like a lot quicker than I assumed that they would, is because apparently they did like some massive study out of Italy, and it was like 99.2% of the deaths were had pre-existing condition, and they were over the age of like 60 or something. So they're starting to realize that it really is older people and people with pre-existing conditions, and mainly people with like multiple pre-existing conditions. Cause I think like it said like people with 3 or more pre-existing conditions made up like 50 per, like half or something like that, you know? Yeah. And like those people are at risk, and that sucks. And so I get people being like, yeah, I'm young and I'm healthy, and like the chances of me getting it and showing symptoms is low. So like, you know, I'm not, and I do understand that there's like an economic impact that I'll never understand. I mean, I get like people are going out of business and like, and shit like that. I don't know what that means for the economy overall. So like, I'm for getting shit back to normal, but I think that's where people are getting to now, is they want to take care. The people who are the high risk groups for it are the ones that we need to start focusing on keeping safe, keeping those people quarantined, like making sure there's tests, hospital room, you know, and I think that's hopefully what they're moving towards. Cause I mean, everybody wants to get back to business as usual, but at the same time, it's like, if it's reckless, I guess,
too quick. Yeah. It could. Well, and like I've taken it very seriously. My girlfriend is immune compromised with more than 3 pre-existing conditions. And so,
damn.
Yeah. So it's like, and so she's been on a hard lockdown. And then I've really I've seen, like I said, I'm at my parents' house. I'll see her. And then I'll see like Nick from my band lives very close to me. I've seen him, and we've kind of like kept our circle very, very small, but it's like, it's scary because I'm like, fuck man, like I don't want to get anyone sick. And like,
same.
And it's like, I don't know. I've just been trying to take it as seriously as possible until we really have the information, because it's like, yeah, it's upsetting and yeah, it's frustrating, but like, you know what I mean? Lives are at risk, and it's like,
100%.
More people than I think anyone realizes, because it's like, yeah, it's a smaller percentage, but it's like those are still it's our right to fucking, our duty, I will say, to
let's go with duty.
Duty. But yeah, let's talk about less fucking bullshit like coronavirus.
Well, dude, it's just weird because I have no idea. Like I mean, this is technically full time now, but that's because I'm not doing shit else, you know, because I work for Universal Studios, and
shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's you know, have you been to Universal? You've been to Universal, right?
I've actually never been to Universal. I've been to Disneyland, but
gotcha. Well, Universal Studios they have the theme park, and then connected to it, it's not inside of it, but it's connected. Like you get there from City Walk. I don't know if you've ever heard of City Walk, but that's where I work. There's a bunch of like restaurants, shops, like shit like that. It's a bunch of like Universal shit that you can go hang out. There's a movie theater and shit, and it's connected to the park. And I work for Margaritaville.
Hey.
And yeah, I know. So that's where I was bartending when all this shit happened. And dude, it was so weird just seeing like, because it was within a week of us, they started like reducing hours, and then next thing I know, we get the notice like we're shutting everything down. Like the restaurant had to get rid of all the food. Like we're taking home like bags of fucking food and shit because they have to get rid of it. You know, it was like some apocalyptic shit for a second, dude. I was like, this is fucking wild, bro. Like what? Like we're gonna be talking about this shit forever.
Yeah, because I'm still at a venue in Seattle, so that was like where because I can tour and still work at a venue, and I work for all of my income comes from the music industry.
Exactly, and that shit got shut down immediately.
That shit got shut down quick, and so it's like, the venue I work at, the promotion companies I work at, any tours that I was helping out with, anything that I was working with, because I'm not on the. And this is why I've been really wanting to get more in on the management and like, I don't want to say consulting, but like, I want to like help produce bands, and I want to help bands like figure out what they want to do. Cause I feel like that's the biggest thing is a lot of bands are trying to do what other people want to do. And what they think they think what's cool cause so-and-so did it. But a lot of people are really bad at like figuring out like what within themselves, like what they think is truly cool and like how to be an authentic, like, musician. I'm not saying I'm a genius at it, but I think I could work with bands and like help them out with that. But I wasn't doing that before this, and
now it's everything stopped. Yeah. Well, yeah, because I mean, a lot of bands lack that like personal direction. Because I feel like you said, you get caught up in the shit that you like, and you try and emulate that, and then eventually a lot of bands just go way too far as to emulate that and lose all sense of their own like personality.
Well, I mean, I'm guilty of it. I'm sure you're guilty of it. We've all done it, but it's like, I don't know. I feel like, especially over the last year, I've really just tried to push. I guess I'd say 2 years, because when we put out our album in, this is kind of switching gears, but fuck it. We're just chatting, right?
We're here. Yeah. You know, we're kicking it.
No, but we put out our first album in August of 2018. And
got it. That was the first album you guys ever put out?
I mean, we used to be a band called Avoid the Void. We had a shitty EP out. It was like we all did it when we were like 15. I think
I was in Versus when we played with you guys when you were Avoid the Void, because I remember that name.
Yeah, that was a band that I started when I was 14 with my buddy Nick, that's not in the band anymore. Love the dude to absolute death. We just went different ways, but we started the band in middle school choir class because we got passed out a sheet of music, and we noticed that there was drums and guitar, and I played drums and he played guitar, and we were like, well, this is choir class, like let's try and like see if we can like not sing.
Let's not sing at all, let's just play instruments instead.
Yeah, exactly. And so the teacher said yes, and we got to kind of like fuck off for an hour a day during choir class and like learn the accompaniment, and we learned it really easy. It was like 3 chords, and so we spent the rest of that time writing songs. And then something clicked for me that day that I feel like I haven't changed my mindset since that day.
Since the day in choir.
Yeah, like when I realized that I could write songs with my friends, and like if I work harder than everyone else, then maybe you can actually like find a career in it someday.
Yeah, it's strange, man, operating through the music industry, and especially now when like, I mean, you can be the most talented person in the world, write the greatest songs and never get heard, or you could be awful and write a shitty song and it could blow up overnight and you get millions of views. Like, it's so crazy how it works.
So weird. And there's such an ebb and flow, and you know what I mean? Just because you have good songs doesn't mean you're going to make it. But if you don't have good songs, then you have no chance of making it. But if you spend too much time on your songs and not learning how to do the other things in the industry, that it's such a weird, like, you have to divert your time in so many different ways and be a person of many different hats, if you will.
Right. Or be lucky enough to find a team where each person is good at their own particular thing, and you come together as a group and you're able to kind of cover all those grounds at once. Cause it's hard trying to be your own person, like the one person doing all of that. Like I've tried that for the longest time, and it's tough. It takes a lot of fucking work and dedication.
And I say this pretty much every opportunity I can. I I'm so lucky with the bandmates that I have, bro. And it's like, and I love everyone that's been a part of this band because I feel like, you know what I mean? Especially I've had a lot of time to reflect in quarantine.
Absolutely.
And you know what I mean? Everything that's happened, the good and the bad, the fights, the member changes, everything that's happened has been for a reason. And you know what I mean? I don't hate any of those people. Like I got a lot of love for everyone that was a part of this journey because it's been a lot of fun and it's just getting started.
Is it the same? Are you the only original member from the first lineup?
Technically, I mean, if you really think about it, I consider Nick, myself, and Luke as original members of the band.
Okay. Nick that's in it now, or the first
Nick?
Nick?
In it now, because essentially, if you really like the TLDR for the backstory of the band is, so we started jamming in 8th grade. That summer into 9th grade was our first year at high school, changing the schools, all that shit. And we did a rock band camp that summer from the one that it wasn't like a school of rock thing, but the guy that I took private drum lessons and he took private guitar lessons, and our teachers also put on a clinic every summer where they would bring you in for a week. They would bring in all these people, like the drummer of Heart and like a ton of like musicians from the Seattle area to help you craft like whatever it is. It was honestly a really cool experience and I'm very grateful for it.
That sounds dope.
And I met Nick that's in the band now, Nick Olson, that summer as well in that camp. And you know what I mean? Ever since then, like we started jamming afterwards, and then we found out that we're going to the same high school, and then we both were in jazz band together, and we were in regular band together, and we just kind of spent so much time together that's what ended up blossoming into like that freshman year of high school. It was his sophomore year. That was the real blossom of what Avoid the Void was, and what really technically it still is today. I like to separate them because I do feel like there was a change when we switched it to Avoid. But I mean, it's the end of the day, it's the same vision, the same love for it that Nick and I had from it since that first day of high school.
Right.
Because now when I refer to Nick, it's pretty much always going to be Nick. Because Nick that I started the band with didn't last too far into high school being in the band.
Gotcha.
Like I said, shit happens. But
and what year was that you guys were doing that?
That would have been 2012.
You were a freshman in 2012?
Yeah, I graduated in 2016.
Oh shit!
I'm a baby, so I just turned 22.
Oh my god! I always forget how young you are. That's crazy.
Yeah, so like technically, the day we first show was December 6th, 2012.
Gotcha.
And then we did rock band camp recitals and stuff so we'd played together live that summer and in November. But like the first show that we booked outside of a rock band camp recital or anything was December 6th, 2012.
When did you switch from drums to just doing vocals?
Kind of right there. Like that started, so I'd played drums my whole life. That's where I started getting into music, but I'd also sung my whole life, and I loved the performing aspect of what a band brings. And I've always thought that, you know what I mean? A bad frontman kills a band instantly.
Oh, immediately.
And so I've always thought that was really cool. And so when I started playing drums, we couldn't really find a singer. Like it actually had happened, like we would write songs, and how we would do it in practice is like Nick would play guitar and sing on some songs, and I would play drums, and Nick also plays drums. Nick is still in the band now. And so then I would play guitar and sing, and then he would play drums, and we would switch. It was totally, we were just switching around. Like no one had their real parts. And then we were like, okay, well, we're going to start trying to find a singer. And we met a couple people that we met at the rock band camp and tried them out. And no one was ever in the band, but we just jammed with a couple people. And I don't know, we didn't like anyone. And I'm kind of particular. And so is Nick. And I don't know, I was just like, fuck it, I'll do it. And then I just started. So yeah, 2012, right? Like my freshman year of high school is kind of when I stopped taking drum lessons. I kind of stopped making drums my main focus. I still play drums to this day, and I love it very much. But I was like, cool, if I'm going to all right, now I'm fucking 14 years old. Like, I got to start doing this now because I was a drummer my whole life. I was going to be a drummer. And I'm like, cool, time to work at this.
Yeah, switch it up.
Yeah, and so since that day, and since we switched it up in that day, I was like, fuck it, I guess I'm going to do it. Never look back.
And what's the name of your drummer now?
My drummer's name is Paul.
Paul, and was he there from the like? Did you find him shortly in the beginning?
So Nick and me now, if you go to modern day of the band, Nick and me and Luke are the only people that are there from the high school days.
Luke is bass.
Luke plays guitar.
You guys don't have a bassist?
No, we have you haven't met our bass player yet. So we had a bass player for the longest time, and he was an awesome guy. His name was Jason. I think you probably met him. We
probably met him at some point, yeah.
Yeah, he was the guy that looked like Dave Grohl. Yeah.
If I saw him, I'd probably recognize him.
Yeah, it was awesome. We had a great 5 years with him, and then it just came time to, like I said, life fucking happens and people go separate ways. And so now we're playing with our buddy Chris, and he's been in the band since August of last year. He's the newest addition.
And you said he lives in San Diego?
He lives in San Diego. We met him actually, it was our first tour after changing our name to Avoid. We did a tour that summer. It was you weren't in Versus at the time, but it was right after I started touring with Versus.
With the Alisana tour?
With the Alisana tour, with the Defiance tour.
That's right.
All those. So those are the tours that I were on with Versus. And honestly,
I was with them. I was on the way out, I think, during the Defiance tour. That was around the time where
I was on the second Defiance tour.
Oh, the second one. I forgot that they did two of them.
Yeah, I was on the second Defiance tour.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so no, and honestly, just getting an opportunity to see how those bigger tours worked and seeing that on the first hand is honestly what helped me fully make the switch and be like, all right, let's change the name to Avoid and let's just do it differently. And it wasn't that we didn't like Avoid the Void, but it's like that had all of the history that came with the good and the bad of being an 8th grader starting a band.
Right, for sure.
And so we didn't want to have that anymore. And so our main goal was to really just be fucking sick. Jesus Christ. Can you hear those dings when they come through?
Yeah. I was like, my boy's getting blown up.
My boy's getting blown up.
Is that on your computer doing that?
Yeah.
Ah, shit. Fuck you, computer.
Yeah, no, I think I just muted it.
It's all good. But
it distracts me that I'm really ADHD, so when something like that happens, I lose all train of thought.
Yeah, you're like, your brain's like, okay, fuck what I was just talking about. What's going on here?
What's going on?
So you met
talking about?
Your bassist. You met him on one of those tours?
Yeah, so when we changed our name to Avoid, he was 16, so he's even younger than us. He's 19 now. He's a fucking baby. It's crazy. And he was doing guitar teching and helping out with a band called Redeem Revive, and he was just really solid. And we made really good friends with him. And ever since then, we always stayed at his house in San Diego, and I'd always booked his other bands in Seattle, and they always opened for us in San Diego. And we had a good relationship with him. And then he started doing photos and video, and we brought him out on tour with us. And that was actually when things ended up going south with our old bass player. And it was perfect timing for us to be able to be with someone that we are comfortable with, not have to bring someone that's completely new to the environment. They've now toured with us. We've known them for years. And so it was a really smooth transition for us, which I'm really happy about.
Right. Yeah, it's always better when it works out that way, because that's the thing that killed a lot of the bands that I was in back home, is just when there wasn't many good musicians that we knew who weren't already in bands. So like anytime we had a member change, it was like pulling teeth to find someone that you're comfortable with, and just not like bringing in someone brand new off the street where you're like, is this going to work? Or like, yeah.
Yeah. I hate, like, it's so tough to really, like, there's so much more in being in a band than playing music together.
Mm-hmm. Well, you got to be able to stand each other.
It's family.
Yeah. Like you got to have a good relationship, or else that shit is not going to work. Like it will not last.
No. And it's like, I don't know. And I don't know many bands that are like this. And my band was not like this always. And it was really not until, like I said, until it's really been this lineup that it really feels the best it's ever been. And we don't have this problem anymore. But every band behind closed doors, you're fucking talking to your buddy, like, dude, fucking Jake was being such a fucking wiener in practice today. He's such a fucking dude. When is that dude gonna get fucking kicked out? You know what I mean?
He's fucking late again every fucking time. Like half-ass playing his shit. Like doesn't give a shit about anything.
Whether or not, you always have a complaint. Like we don't have that. Like none of us. I mean, as far as we know, because like we like actually fight about our problems. Like if we have an issue with one of us, we just fucking like, yo, fuck you.
Right.
I don't like this.
Settle that shit
figure it out
immediately.
right then and there. We don't hold on to it because it's like we used to, and that's why. And I honestly think that's why we went through member changes. We didn't have a good open form of communication that I think could have saved things in the past. But instead of dwelling on that, I really focus on just making sure I apply that every day in the future.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's what you got to do. And yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is just open communication, because that was a lot of the bands that I was in back home. We were somehow best friends, and yet there was still shit that was being said. It always came back like to me for the most part. And I was just like, man, what the fuck? Because it was always like, I guess I was the problem, even though I was going out of my way to not be a problem. Like I wasn't like butting heads with anybody about any of the writing, or I think it was just because I was the front man, you know, like I was, and I think there was just like a little bit of, I don't know, I could be totally wrong, but for some reason I always heard that I was an asshole and I was like an arrogant dick. And I was like, why, bro? Like, literally all I tell people is I don't do shit except sing in this band. Like, I give all the credit to literally everybody else. Yeah. But it's like those things go unsaid. And then once you find out that, you know, shit's not getting handled in the open, it's like, yeah, you end up saying, I don't want to fucking be in this band with you anymore. Like, why would I want to do this?
And then it's like, I feel like a big key is, you know what I mean? You have to drop all the dumb shit. Yeah. You have to drop all the dumb shit. You can't fucking
your ego it's gotta go.
Fucking the singer's getting the fucking interviews, and hey man, sometimes the singer's gonna get extra interviews because that's just what the singer of the band does. And it's like, don't be happy that your band is successful enough to be in a position that you are getting those opportunities. You know what I mean? Like everyone takes it as so me, and I mean. And it's also the other side is a lot of frontmen can take it as me. Like, I do all the fucking interviews. I do. And it's like, nah, it's like a team. And it's like most frontmen that I know, they are actually, no, that's not to say. Because like a lot of the people that I know that are frontmen are usually the main songwriters of their band. That's not the case for this band. I write a lot of the music, but Nick also writes a lot of the music. And we write a lot of music together.
Is it just you two that write it? Or is it?
No, we all write.
Gotcha.
Every single song, and it's like even if like everyone plays a part in some way or another, and that's how I try and look at it too. It's like even if you didn't necessarily write the riff, if you were in the room that day and we were hanging out and our conversation earlier that day put us in a mood. It's like if everyone's in the room and everyone's working together, it's not necessarily about who wrote what. It's about the experience you had.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like. Truly, I was watching a documentary on Eiffel 65.
What is that?
The I'm Blue, like the fucking I'm Blue and dabba-dee, dabba-da.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and no, it was so, I was like, why am I watching this? But it was like a BuzzFeed documentary, and it's truly so interesting. And one of the things that really stuck with me is it's not about how long it took a song to be written. It's about the journey that your life took you there to get to that moment, to the 2 minutes or the 5 hours or whatever. It's about what took you there to write that song.
Right.
Everyone's on their own journey. So it doesn't matter whether a song took 3 minutes to write or 10 years to write. It's like, as long as it's yours and you're being genuine with it, that's yours. No one can take that away from you.
Exactly. And when you're sharing that with other people, again, you can't have this mindset of like, I'm not going to get the credit that I deserve for this. It's like, and it sounds like you guys have a good like creative atmosphere that you guys are so comfortable. You've been with each other for long enough that you don't have to worry about that. And I got to imagine that's extremely rare, because there's always at least one person who is not feeling like they're getting their fair share, or they're being heard, or that they have a better idea that nobody agrees with. And again, that's the little seeds that just get planted that will just ruin shit down the road.
Oh, man. I mean, and it's truly, you know, it's equal. You have to have equal share in everything. And that's how we do it. If all of us put the same amount of money in, if there's an expense, and all of us get writer credit on every song, there's no fucking Billy Corgan aspect. There's no fucking, you know what I mean? Like no
right.
one, like everyone's equal in this band. No one, like that's how all of our contracts are written. That's how we've always done everything. And if we bring a producer in, then we split it 6 ways. We never, doesn't matter about fucking pulling hairs about who actually wrote the lick.
Yeah.
Because if you're a good enough fucking band, you're going to write a ton of them.
Yeah. And it's going to benefit all of you anyway. no matter
exactly.
what. Yeah. And oh shit. I lost it. I was like, there was something, and then there it goes. Do you guys write at Nick's place? Does he have like a studio at his house?
Yeah, he has an awesome little, like the house that he's at. He has the full garage, and it's built into a bedroom. But it's the perfect, like, he's built that out into his own home studio, and he actually runs his own business out of there as well, and he records a lot of other bands, and so it's really such a luck to have that space.
Is that what he does as his business? Is he does recording?
Yeah, he does audio for a living now.
That's dope.
Yeah, he's been doing that for about a year now.
He's like full time doing it. Like,
yeah,
that's his.
He got to a point where he was able to quit his job and do audio full time.
Well, because all the shit that I hear from you guys is him, right? Him recording it.
Yeah, well, so our first album, it was mixed by him, and then our old bass player Jason had a big hand to play in that as well. And then our new stuff, we wanted to take a different approach, and especially Nick, he's like, I don't want to mix this one. I don't want to be in charge of that. Yeah. Because it blocks my creativity. Mm-hmm. And I get that. And it's
100%. Like, yeah, I get that 100%.
Dude, it's hard to be fucking creative if you're in the driver's seat and you have to focus on not only like being a big creative aspect to the song, but also, dude, stop fiddling around, and also fucking I have to go now. I'm fucking chopping everything up and doing all the edits and doing all the mixes and doing all, if that's also like I can't imagine that, because I don't do that, and I find it hard enough to write songs as it is.
Yeah, it almost feels like your creativity's got to be spent in one area, either writing the song or, because mixing the song is an entirely different creative process. And so, and it's almost not all the time, but it's almost a detriment to mix your own music. And like I say that even though I mix all my own shit, but that's just because I can't afford I really can't afford to have every one of my songs like professionally mixed and mastered, especially not here. But it takes away from that creative process, because you're not, when you give somebody what you created with fresh ears and somebody who knows what they're doing as far as like the engineering or the mixing and mastering side of it, it's just a new fresh set of ears that will hear things that you just aren't hearing anymore, because you've been with this song since day one. Like it is almost detrimental to not give yourself the chance of letting someone else hear it and being able to add their creative twist on it and let them do the work that they want to do on it when you've already spent hours, tracking, writing, like just all, you're spent by that point.
Dude, absolutely. And this was, for us, this is the first time we'd ever actually gone to a producer, because we actually went and recorded at our buddy Hiram's house in Arizona. And we did everything, like we were on tour it was a shorter tour. It was like a 2-week tour. And then we went and started doing the album the next day, and we did it in a week.
Damn.
Yeah, we did a song a day, and we actually we did it. So we were there for 7 days, and we took one day off because we were so fucking burnt towards the end of it, and it was our producer's birthday. And then we ended up writing one more song we actually didn't even use, which is it was, you know what I mean? When you finish, like, not everyone's a hit, not everyone's a fucking winner, and that's okay.
Yeah, and it's like you get through one, and it's like, this is kind of cool, but I mean, this doesn't fit with what we're doing, or like it's not on the same level as what we're doing, but like, hey, we did it,
Exactly. But we have an awesome EP. We have, I think, the 5 best songs we've ever written, and we're finally we sent everything off this week to actually get into starting to roll it out and shit. So hopefully now we actually got to figure out the first single I know is coming out in July. I don't give a fuck who knows that. I'm really excited about it. That's when the NASCAR game comes out, and so we're gonna basically, it's kind of going to link up around then.
Is that so? Because I do want to talk to you about the NASCAR thing. So the new single that you're going to release in July is the one that's going to be in the NASCAR game?
No. So that's the more fun. So we got 2 songs in that NASCAR game.
You got 2?
And, yeah, which is also crazy.
Yeah, that's wild, bro.
Yeah. And both of the songs that are in the game is not, because we've known what the first single for this release is going to be for a while. When we wrote it, we were like, yep, this is the first single. This
is the banger right here.
Yep. and that never changed. And we sent when we submitted for that video game, we sent them the whole EP, and we were just like, yo, any songs you like, but we can talk. And they didn't pick that one, which is totally fine. but we're still going to use it and the 2 songs that they picked. And so it's basically we're going to be dropping 3 songs right around the same time period, but you're going to have to literally pay $60 to hear 2 of them.
Holy shit. So walk me through just like from the very beginning, like how did you link up with the NASCAR thing?
Bro, this is the craziest fucking story.
I'm here for it. I'm so here for it.
It's as cool as everyone thinks it is, but also not as cool as everyone thinks it is at the same time. It
makes sense.
Pure luck. 1000%. This is pure luck. And
well, that's dude. That's what the
brand.
But that's what it is, man. It's luck, bro. That's a lot of what it is. It's luck. You got to be right place, right time.
Right place, right time. And so our guitar player Luke was bored as shit like on 2 a.m. at Reddit one night, and he was just in the NASCAR Heat subreddit and just posted, "Yo, how do you get your band's music in these fucking games? We really want to do it, and we don't know who to talk to." And dead ass, the one person that commented back was a game developer for 704 Games.
No fucking way.
And he was just like, "Yo, email me."
And that was it.
And then we submitted the songs, and a month and a half later we heard back, and they were like, "Yo, we want both of these songs. Here's a contract. Here's like." It was crazy, bro. And they were like, "Yeah," and so we're gonna have an instrumental track like for the ads that roll out for the game and stuff like that as well.
So these are like main songs for they're not just like ones that you'll hear every now and then. They're like main tracks for the game.
These are the songs. They're on the main soundtrack. There's usually like I think 14, 15 songs per game, maybe even a little more than that, but they run through pretty quick, especially because you'll spend hours on that game. You remember how much fucking Brandon used to play that game?
Oh, I mean, that's all he did with the steering wheel and he had the helmet on.
You play that game long enough, you hear all the fucking songs in there.
Oh, and you're going to memorize every single one of them. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm in that boat with the one I have now. I know all the songs in there.
That's so fucking cool, man. It's so fun. I'm so happy that story started with Reddit.
Right?
Because like, of
Reddit
course.
LinkedIn, bro.
It did. I'm gonna put that as the fucking quote, like the title for this fucking podcast. Reddit is the new LinkedIn. That is so funny, but that is like that's a testament to if you're not shooting shots, you're not it's not gonna work.
Try, you'll never fucking dude. A lot of people never even take the shot.
Yeah.
The worst anyone's ever gonna tell you is no, and once you learn how to get told no, it's really easy to get told again.
Exactly. And I mean, what is the cliche? I mean, you miss 1,000%. What you miss
100% of the shots you don't take, baby.
And I love taking shots, so like line them up. You know what I mean?
Well, bro, I mean, think about how your YouTube's hitting now, and it's like, and I'm so happy for you. You've always been so talented, but you know what I mean. You had to try a couple different things for something to hit.
Well, I got very lucky as well. I just so happened to, because I was trying to do YouTube. I was one of those people. I was like, there's got to be something that I can do that I can
vlogs and shit.
Yeah. So like, that was one of the first things I was trying. And then I realized very quickly that like, I'm not that guy. Like, I'm not the guy that I don't want to. If I had somebody else videotaping me, that's fine. Or even if like back in like 2012, when Joe and I were hanging out hardcore and like our whole friend group was hanging out and like doing music and just being ridiculous all the time, maybe then the vlogging thing would have been cool. But by the time I got around to it, it's just like all I was doing was working and like trying to figure out what I can do to make enough passive income to not have to work a fucking 40-hour week job, Like there wasn't much, I wasn't in a band anymore at the time. Like I was writing all my own music. Like I was doing the rap stuff. Like I was really starting to like dig into that. So the vlogging thing just wasn't happening, I wasn't going to just like have a camera in my hand and film the most mundane shit, And so then I tried to jump from that into, I really liked I had an idea for like, just 2-minute segments about like recent news. Cause like I'm with that kind of shit too. And so like I started just doing like whatever news story was happening explained in 2 minutes kind of thing. And I was like, that's content, like there's always news happening. There's always shit going on. So like, that'll be content. But then like that just, that didn't work out. And then it hit me. I was like, I want to play my guitar more. I haven't really played much since I stopped playing in bands. And like, there's endless songs. I could literally just start doing tutorials and like if it works, it works. If not, I mean, I have plenty of content. I can just keep doing it for however long. And luckily, one of the first 5 videos that I released, one of them is still the second most watched video today on my channel. And it's just because I got lucky with a song that nobody had a tutorial for and nobody was making a tutorial for. And the song,
I was gonna say, like, that's one thing I commend you for a lot, is it really does seem like you really, because it's like, how many fucking guitar playthrough YouTubers are there? A ton, but not any of them are teaching you how to play your favorite rap song.
exactly.
Like, that's really, especially, and it seems like you're pretty on top of, like, you get it out there within a couple months of the song being released, you know?
Well, especially now, because like I said, it was slow in the beginning, but once it started working, I had to keep going. Because what happened was I released those first few videos, and that was right around the time I left North Carolina.
Yeah.
And I moved to Seattle, where I was living with Joe for, I think I was there for like 6 or 7 months. I had no way to film, but this entire time, that one video is
Josh
just
doing any of your filming at that time?
Josh.
Josh Kendrick.
No, I didn't even meet Josh until I linked up with Versus. I don't think. It's weird because he had always lived in North Carolina, but I don't think I'd ever actually met him until a little bit later.
I thought, didn't you move out to Seattle after Versus too?
Yeah, so I never moved to Seattle until the end of 2017. I would
That's
come.
when we were all hanging out and shit all the time.
Right. I would come out a lot and like visit. Yeah. I wasn't in Versus when I moved to Seattle. When I was in Versus, I was just coming out and visiting.
Yeah.
But when I actually moved, that was right after I started the guitar channel, and the entire time I was there, I had no way to film, and just this one video is just like consistently starting. It's just getting more and more views, and so when I left there and moved here, I was literally filming because I was like, I have to fucking film. Like there's so many people requesting songs that there are just no tutorials for. Like I know I got to do this, and I was literally filming when I moved here. I was sleeping in someone's living room, random person, like rented out half of someone's living room. There was another just random chick renting out the other half. She had fucking like tarantulas and shit. Just like, it was so weird. But they had like a clubhouse on the roof that had like a Wi-Fi lounge. I literally would go up there and just set up my camera and just like, I have a few, probably like 20 videos of me just like in this fucking in this
upstairs.
Yeah, and a couple of those videos have like 200,000 or 300,000 views.
Yeah,
and it's just and that to say it was working, and I knew I had to capitalize on it. And then now I finally worked my way to, having my own little room where I turned it into a studio. And yeah, I look for all, like, especially the artists that I know people want to see on my channel. If they drop a new song, like I'm gonna have the video done for it ASAP. I'm in that position to be able to do that now.
And that's so huge on being able to stay on top of content like that, man. And I'm so happy you're able to actually, you know what I mean? That's why you fucking moved to LA. Exactly.
Well, technically it was to try and do music, but that's always a thing. Like I have another album coming out in the next probably month or two that I need to.
Album?
Yeah. Sick. Yeah. I'll send you I just got the album artwork done, and I just have one more song I have to finish mixing, and then all the rest of them are done. I think it's like 10 or 12.
Yeah.
But it's
your new album too, man. Like I want to hear what you think about it.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. I mean, I loved your last one, dude. I was jamming that shit all the time. Yeah, dude, it was so good. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like you find what's working and you stick with it. But in the very beginning, it's about taking the shots. It's about going out of your way to like grind tooth and nail, send emails, find companies to work with, like ask questions on Reddit. It doesn't, like, whatever it is, like, it's putting yourself out there.
A lot of people, especially if you have a decent enough company to the point where there is a subreddit community about you, someone from that company is fucking monitoring that Reddit.
Mm-hmm.
Tell you that.
Absolutely.
It is the best way to get unfiltered with like, because YouTube comments are pretty unfiltered, but I feel like you really can't get real tips from YouTube. You can, but it's like when you're a company that's that big, like the subreddit is, I feel like, where you can get people really having like in-depth discussions about what they don't like about your shit.
Yeah, because I mean, YouTube comments are going to always just be opinionated,
It's fucking lame.
Yeah, it's going to be either a good or a bad opinion. But Reddit does seem to have more of a like there are people who are willing to. I don't want to say more educated, but you get much more educated responses. And
it's not as much I don't like this. It's I don't like this because, and here's what I would like to see in the future.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And that's why, and with the success of the channel, that's why I started doing this stuff now, because this is just something I've always wanted to do. And hopefully people like watching this shit, but even if they don't, it's like, I'm going to keep doing, you know, like I'm doing, like, I'm going to do the podcast, and I'm going to try, and I've been reaching out to like other artists, which, by the way, if you, any of the bands that you've worked with, if any of them want to fucking link up and do something like this, I would love to interview any one of those guys. Like,
hell yeah. That's so sick. Cause do you like doing a podcast? Cause I wanted to start one for so long.
I mean, so far, you're my second one, and and I mean, I always knew that I wanted to do one, but it didn't make sense until now, you know, like the channel has a decent little following to it, and it, you know, I have a, you know, I guess a theme, if you want to call it that, you know, that works well with the channel. It's all about music, guitar playing, but also it's going to be, it's so cute. But it didn't make sense until now, you know, because having a podcast is great. And again, it's one of those things where if you want to start it, you know, like, because people will listen, but if you're going to do it, you just got to be consistent. That's what I tell anybody about literally anything. Because people ask me all the time about, you know, how did you do this and that? How did you get to this many subscribers? And 50,000 is cool, but it's not a lot. But it's only because I did it. I just kept doing it. You know, I found something I wanted to do, and I just kept doing it. So that's what I tell everybody. And now it makes sense to be able to do the podcast on the channel, because I want to start diversifying the content a little bit. Yeah. And adding just different stuff, you know, because guitar tutorials are cool, but there's a lot more stuff that I want to do. So, and this being one of them, like I'm thinking about starting to do reviews on the channel, you know. Well, and I'm at the point now where I can contact companies and see if we can work out like a deal where, you know, I review their product, they send it to me, and then it, you know, it's like a mutual exchange kind of thing. Yeah. And I have like blooper reels now. I don't know if you've seen any of those, but
I especially looked through it again today, because I've seen a couple of your videos, but I was like, I need to get fucking more in depth with what you're up to. And I saw like you have already a good variety of content on there.
Yeah, and I think that's just the biggest thing, is I just want to start growing. You know, I don't want to stay in one lane. I want to expand it a little bit. Nothing crazy, but, you know, doing stuff like this, because this is just cool. You know, this shit is fun.
Man, we just get to chat, and it's just like we're already homies. So it's like
exactly. And I plan on doing it. Like I said, I plan on doing it as much as possible. Like, I mean, me and you are gonna do it again.
Dude, we should do another one, especially when we get our album out and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
I would love to do that stuff. And like, dude, if you wanted to too, I've been wanting to start doing Instagram lives on the band page.
Hell yeah.
That from your page, and like you could fucking hop on and we could just chat and like do more of this shit.
Absolutely, dude. I'm
produce content in quarantine.
I mean, we got nothing else to do, so.
Nothing else to do. Look at this fucking cat, bro.
Yo, she is chilling.
She's chilling so hard right now, bro. I've had this cat since she was born.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you birth her? Is she your child?
Pretty much, man. Like we had another cat when I was a little kid, and she was born on February 29th, bro, in 2008.
Oh shit, leap year kitty.
Leap year kitty. So she's only like 4, dude. It's sick.
Yeah, she's gonna like, you're gonna die before she does.
Exactly, bro. She's got a long life ahead of her. She acts like it though, dude. You would never be able to tell that this cat's 11 years old.
Nah, she looks beautiful.
I guess 12 now.
Do you guys have, so you don't have a set release date for
the album? I don't know, because I'm just gonna say it because I don't give a shit. The first single is gonna come out like July 10th, whatever that Friday is, and then we're gonna try like because you gotta put the songs out on Fridays for Spotify and things to get picked up that way. But we're also gonna, I think we're gonna try to put the video out on like a Wednesday and like have it so that you can only watch it on YouTube for a couple of days, and then do a rollout on that Friday. And hopefully, we were very lucky on the last release to get some help from Spotify playlists, and and once you get them, they're a lot easier to get them in the future, luckily, which is really sweet, and I'm so fucking thankful for that. So we're hoping that, you know what I mean, we can build some hype on YouTube for a couple of days, and then on Friday it'll run to everyone's new release radar, New Music Friday, all that shit.
Is it did you contact anybody or like to get put on the Spotify playlist, or did it just get picked up?
That was something Revival handled for us. That was all them. I could not tell you how to get on the Spotify playlist to save my life.
Well, no, me either. Like my music is on a bunch of playlists, but like I have no idea. It just kind of got put on there. Like I don't know how.
I know Revival does do they do distribution directly through Sony now, and with that, like they've been able to get some good connections from that, and so I think that has something to do with it. But that's one side of the industry that I really don't know a ton about. Like I know how to tell you how to run a good ad, but I don't know how to get you on a fucking Spotify playlist.
Yeah, dude, I was looking at that for so long. Are you guys still with Revival?
Yeah, we have this is gonna be our second release with them.
Okay, gotcha. And how many songs is on it?
This has 5 songs on it, and then we'll have like a hidden song on the EPs that we sell in person.
Okay, gotcha. And you have videos for all the songs or just one of them?
We're going to be. We have one video done now, and now that we kind of have figured out what the summer and everything's going to look like, the future of music. Once these guidelines just get a little bit less restricted, we're going to meet up with our bass player and probably come down to LA. Actually, we have our buddy, shout out Liz. He's doing videos right now for like Trippie Redd and fucking all these big down there. And we actually met him on an Alisana tour. He was doing photo and video. You remember Capture the Crown?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, he was doing. We were on tour with. I mean, they were called Capture at that time. They dropped the crown. But,
I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
He was doing photo and video for them, and we met him. And ever since that tour, his whole business has just popped off in LA. And
what's his name?
Glizzy. Or like, I can send you. I'll send you his Instagram. It's like Godkilla or something on Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll send you. He would be a great person to link with.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Send me his information because I'll hit him up too. If he's doing videos for Trippie and shit, I might see if I can get him to do one of my videos, because I need to shoot a video. It's just all these songs that I'm about to release, they're just so old because I got into this cycle of I had written so many songs and then I was putting so much time into the channel that I kind of neglected it for a little while, and now I'm trying to finish those songs because there's so many other songs that I'm trying to write, but I can't fully devote myself to them until I get these just kind of out of the way, you know? And so I need to link with somebody and think about shooting at least one video for one of them. So I might hit him up.
I highly recommend Glizzy, man. And he is absolutely murdering the rap game. And he's such a good guy, man. He is. Yeah. I saw him last time we played LA. Like LA was one of the last shows we played before we got fucking shut down.
Yeah. When was that?
We played LA like early March, I think.
Because I wanted to say I was going to come out and see you guys, but I don't know what came up. But I remember seeing that you had...
Bro, I ain't tripping. I know we had talked a little bit around that time.
Yeah.
No, we played at the Hi-Hat. Have you ever gotten a chance to go see that venue yet?
The Hi-Hat?
Yeah. I remember, I couldn't explain exactly what part of LA it was in. It was like it's fairly close to downtown, but it's in one of the, as the people around there described it, an up and coming neighborhood.
Oh, one of those.
Yeah, it's not fully developed yet, but it's definitely like, I see what they're trying to gentrify the shit out of it.
Of course. Yeah, I mean, there's so much shit like that going on out here for sure.
It's a fantastic little spot. I love the venue, man. It's a great sound system, a cool little atmosphere. Like, we had a really good time.
Yeah. Was it a little bit like a bigger, medium size? Like, what was the size?
I want to say like a 400 cap room.
Gotcha. That's not bad.
Maybe 5. No, it's definitely 400.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check it. I'll have to look it up and see what area it's in.
Yeah, I'm not super great with my LA yet. I do want to move to LA still. I would love to fucking come down there.
It's tight. Everyone talks shit, bro, but I mean, I love it. I mean, you know, it can have like some drawbacks, I guess. Like when the pollution is really bad, it's not the greatest thing, but that doesn't really.
You guys have had the #1 air quality in the country for the last little bit, right?
Dude, I know it's been weird because you can tell too. You can tell it's been wild, but I mean, I love it, man. You got the beach, you got the mountains, like it's beautiful. The weather's great. Like,
how is it now that I know that they're starting to open nature and recreation like that again? How's that?
I'm not totally sure. We made the mistake back at the beginning of all this shit when like things had just started to get shut down of going on a hike. And it was the worst fucking mistake we ever made because it was back through like a canyon. So like literally you're walking like it would change between like wood and then like in between literally two mountains. It's like rocks and water you're like walking over, and everybody and their fucking mom was there, dude. I'm talking like at least this trail was probably like 3 miles long, and there had to be 1,000 people out there. Like just, and because there was nothing else to do, and we didn't even think about that. And I'm like, we're getting COVID. Like we're way too close to these people.
Oh man, it's fucking, isn't it weird how it's like fucking the new greeting? Hey man, how's it going? Fucking hitting you with the fucking elbows.
I was laughing so hard because there was memes going around in the very beginning of like old white politicians being like, oh, like instead of handshaking, and then Trump would still look people dead in their face and grab their fucking hand and just shake the shit out of it. Like he doesn't give a fuck.
Oh, goodbye, kitty.
Oh my god,
no,
shit's
that's
wild.
Fucking hilarious, man.
It's insane. But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of pressure on the governor here because even as, you know, progressive as everyone is here, everyone's still just ready to go back to fucking normal.
And
so
a lot of people forget that there are a lot of conservatives I don't think in LA County as much, but I feel like Orange County has a lot of conservatives down there.
There's a lot of people, so it's like there's
got fucking millions of people, bro.
Yeah, so like there's plenty on each side for sure. So I mean,
not that there's nothing wrong with either, as long as you're not a fucking bad person.
Don't be a dick. That's all you gotta do.
Don't be a fucking dick, and don't be racist, and don't be like, don't do the objectively dumb things, and you're good, bro.
Yeah, but that's really hard for some people, apparently.
No, people are fucking stupid, man.
Yeah,
we live in such a fucked country.
Yeah, it's really bad.
It's not as fucked as other places, I guess, you know?
I mean, it's all relative, I guess, you know. I don't know shit about anything.
I don't know enough. I just know that it's crazy.
Yeah,
life is crazy, and you should follow your dreams because life's short.
It's a simulation, bro. That's what it is.
Life's a fucking thing. Take my tinfoil hat out, baby. Let's go hunting. Have you ever seen The Curve, bro?
Elon Musk said it's a simulation, so it's got to be.
Oh man!
I just want to.
Everyone was on that way for a sec.
I mean, a lot of people still are, dude. I'm not convinced that it's not a simulation. Fuck.
I mean, I still kind of think it's a simulation.
We'll never know, but it's like there's just as much of a chance that it is that it isn't.
Yeah.
So fuck.
I don't know. It's hard, like, because I love alien shit. But it gets harder and harder for me every day to believe that what would a fucking superior intelligence of species want to do with our dumbass?
Either murder us or just leave us alone.
Exactly, right?
It's one or the other, yeah. It was explained to me, or like I watched a video, it might have been Neil deGrasse Tyson who was explaining how we differ from chimpanzees by 1% or 2% in DNA. And so he was like, if we met an alien species that differed from us by 1 or 2% of DNA in the same way that we differ from the chimpanzee, we would look like fucking chimpanzees to them. You know, like we'd be babbling fucking idiots. Like
they would not. We would be like, whoa, let's capture a human and put it in a zoo.
Oh yeah, I mean, and they honestly might at some point if we keep acting like assholes.
That's the one theory I heard, is that the reason why we've seen more alien activity, if it is what we think it is, and I believe there's aliens. I just don't think they want anything to do with us.
Yeah, I could see that.
But the theory that has been explained to me is that if like the reason why we've been potentially seeing more activity is that we are so close to blowing our planet up as like with fucking nuclear weapons and war and a natural disaster that could potentially, like, we are so close at fucking just blowing ourselves up that they're like monitoring us just to to make, because it's like if Earth blows up, like that'll fuck some shit up, I imagine.
Yeah, it's probably not a good look, I would think. I've heard that before too, but I don't know, man. I don't think we're closer now than we were in like the 60s when the Cold War was going on. Yeah. Dude, you want to know some crazy shit? In the 60s, there was like 2 or 3 different times that there were false signals that I think on both sides, definitely on the Russian side, there was like false signals that we had fired nuclear weapons at them. And if it wasn't for like, there's like 1 or 2 people who specifically, they were getting the signal, hey, incoming nuclear fucking weapons, like, you know, whatever radar detection they were using was saying, hey, here's a fucking nuke coming at you. And literally the general was like, nah, just wait. Let's see what this shit is. And like, it was because of him, because like they were ready to pull the fucking trigger and fire back. And he was like, no, he's like, we need to wait. And luckily he did, because it ended up being like,
thing.
Yeah, some sort of faulty mechanism or whatever. So like World War III really did almost happen like 2 or 3 different times because of some stupid shit. Like,
oh, I mean, fuck, dude. Did you see about like in the 1960s, Operation Northwoods?
Oh yeah. Operation Northwoods.
Yep. We tried to start basically had false flag terrorist attack. For any of your viewers that might not know what it is, the TLDR, and you can go find this on literally the declassified documents on the CIA website. And there was a full plan to have a false flag terrorist attack to make it look like they were Cubans, and we were gonna do bombs from drones on Miami Beach, I believe it was, in Washington, D.C., and they were going to also have friendly Cubans attack our naval base that was down there.
Yeah, that's very, very close. Yeah. I haven't done a bunch of research into it for the simple fact that, like, again, it will just send me down that rabbit hole. You know what I mean?
And obviously, it never happened, but that was something that
they were considering.
People that run our country, they had a meeting one morning and was like, okay, check this out.
Right. So here's an idea.
It was talked about. And that's enough for it. And there's 2 sides to that argument. Like, they have to talk about everything, but it's like, yo, but like, why is that like?
Well, and I think you got to attribute that to like, there's gonna be shitty, and like, it sucks because stuff like that, like the real stuff, you know, there's so many conspiracies that aren't real, but they stem from when shit like that happens, like the real shit that's like, hey, you know, they were thinking about doing this shit, like it was real, like there's documents, like this is like, proven.
This was actually proposed to our country, not a joke, not a movie skit.
Right, and that's what sends people down the rat, because they're like, oh, if they're willing to do that, then of course, you know, 9/11 was an inside job, and of course COVID's inside, you know, like, you know, and it's fucking wild, man. You know what I mean? At
the end of the day, I think that elite people are able to do elite things, but you also have to remember that humans are stupid.
Extremely.
There's shit going on that we don't know about, and fucking hospitals are getting money when they claim COVID patients. That's not a conspiracy. That's a real thing, because they need the money because like a hospital gets $39,000 when they claim a COVID patient, because those ventilators cost $39,000.
Right, and they're furloughing doctors, so like they need the money to keep people employed. You know, like I'm not gonna get mad at them for getting their money. Like it's there for COVID patients. If I mean, I'm not here to say it's okay to lie about it, but like
I'm not saying, but it's like, who doesn't fucking lie in government? And I'm not, but like that's not the fight I'm willing. Like I'm not having that fight right now. Like,
yeah,
but it's like, just look into shit, and you'll be like, oh wow, weird.
And I think that's the biggest issue is nobody's willing. Not many people are willing to to look into something and say, hey, I feel strongly about it this way, but maybe it's not right. Maybe I'm, because that's how I rarely have opinion about shit because I just don't know. But like I am willing to hear information from both sides, like
most of the time too, the actual answer is somewhere in the middle.
Always. It's never right or left.
Your feelings get in the way at some point in time if you're that passionate about something.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
And it's hard to look at things objectively.
Yeah, because you're so riled up about something that you think is real that it clouds your judgment. It makes you not see anything else on the contrary,
It's fucking crazy, man. The world we live in, it is constantly a mystery to me. I'll say that much.
I love how we diverted so hard into
this was the fastest hour and 15 minutes ever, bro.
100%. Tell me, so to get back on track, I guess. So you guys you're aiming for the release in July, or that's when
the first single is gonna come out. I would really love to have an album out by summer, like August, maybe September. I don't really how I feel about it is we have 5 songs. I want to get them out, and we've sat on these songs for a while, and it's been 2 years since we released music. And with the mindset we have now is we're constantly we have so many more songs written, and we want to be able to. We don't want to sit on these songs anymore.
Yeah, got to get them out.
I don't want to be dumb about it. I definitely want to get the proper playlisting, the right things, but I don't want to sit on these songs any longer. Yeah,
because it almost seems the longer you do it, the longer it might continue to be,
longer. We're a different band. We and I'm not saying I hate our first record, and I think there's one really good song on that album, in my opinion, but all of these are really good songs, and the whole vibe of the sound is different. It's so, because it's like we were still trapped in the mindset of we kind of still wanted to be like a metalcore band and do that whole thing when we wrote that first album. And not to say that having a meaning, that do whatever you want to do. Art is what you want it to be, but all we ever wanted to do was make people happy and play cool shows. Mm-hmm. That was always what it was from day one, and that's always what it's going to be. And so we don't have a genre in mind. We don't have anything. We're branding ourselves as music and avoid kicks ass. There's nothing that we can't do. There's nothing we can't write. There's not it is. Everyone should be able to do whatever the fuck they want to do, and that's what we are going to do through our music. You don't know what kind of a song we're going to release, whether it's really heavy or a pop punk song. And yes, there's both on this album.
Fuck yeah, dude. And put an acoustic song on there, and I'll do a tutorial for it.
No, that's the LP2 definitely will have an acoustic song.
It should, dude. I would love that.
The heaviest song ever. Constantly, my goal for every release, and I think we've done that on this release as well, is to put out the lightest and the heaviest song we've ever put out on each album.
To have a good sense of diversity.
Exactly.
Yeah, I could see that. So I'm gonna wrap this up, but where drop links, where can anybody find your shit?
Avoid Kicks Ass, baby. Avoid Kicks Ass on Instagram, Avoid Kicks Ass on Twitter, and all capital Avoid on fucking Facebook, all capital Avoid on Spotify.
Is it really Avoid Kicks Ass? Is that your that's your tag?
.org. Yeah.
You have a website?
Avoidkicksass.org. .org. Avoidkicksass.org. Buy our fucking merch, bitch.
When did you change all that? It wasn't always that, right?
No, we started to be that fucking, we were a We Are band. We Are Avoid. And then I was like, this is fucking stupid. I'm tired of doing what everyone else is fucking doing. We're Avoid Kicks Ass, and I'm here to fucking stay, baby.
I love that. I love that.
It's the most unfiltered, most genuine. I don't give a fuck. I want to have fun.
I feel that. Absolutely.
That's why I started playing music. That's why I wanted to pursue music. And once I started caring about the sound and the message and not saying have a bad message, but it's our message is to make you feel happy.
Yeah.
And to make you that's so stupid. That's so goofy. That's so whatever. That's what we want you to feel when you listen to us. We don't want you to have to think to get it.
Right. Yeah, man. I feel like you got a good ideology behind it. So I'm stoked. I'm stoked to hear the EP and the album.
Yeah, bro. I'll send it to you like right after we're done with this. I'd really
Fuck
love
yeah.
to hear your thoughts.
I'll shoot you my email and I'll listen to it. I'll listen to it tonight for sure.
Yeah, let's go there. I have all the fucking like big ass wave files, so you'll hear the top quality, fresh masters.
The beautiful.
And you'll hear all the fucking bells and whistles that are in this thing.
All the blacks.
There's none, bro.
Oh, boo.
So much. No, fuck a black. Bro, if I could change one thing in the history of our band, it's that I don't do a blah for the first song we ever release. That's the one thing I would change.
I feel that. Well, look, I mean, it's nothing to do but look forward, I guess.
Goddamn right, baby.
All right, bro.
I love you, man. It was so good to catch up.
I love you too, man. Yeah, we'll definitely do this again soon. It's definitely, I mean, hopefully not wait until July, but definitely when you guys find out when you want to release a single or whatever, we'll do this again for sure.
Yeah, man, I would love to, bro. And congratulations again, man, on all the success you've had with your page and everything that you've been doing, bro. It's so cool that we were fucking kicking it years ago and both of us are still holding the path, man.
Hell yeah, man. Well, keep it up, bro. I'm proud of you, dude.
Bro, I fucking love you. I'll talk to you soon, man. Like,
hell yeah, dude. Send me those songs. I'll send you my email address.
Yeah, shoot it to me. I'll get you right now.
All right, love you, man.
Talk to you later, buddy.